Hey everyone, doing a video looking at 5 USMJ tickers. And before we get into it, if you haven't seen the webinar I did last weekend, I did a 2-hour webinar and I suggest everybody trading or investing in this sector watch that webinar. I think there's some good information and it really provides a base of knowledge that anybody playing around in the sector needs to have, in my opinion. So some of these names I'm familiar with in terms of been watching them for years and years, and a couple are new here at the end. But the first thing that I do on any marijuana stock ticker is look at the weekly chart and zoom back to 2014. And what I want to look for is what is the price compared to what it was back then. I can see TRTC was 142 and now we're down at 50 cents. So essentially I'm looking to see if these are stocks that should be trading or investing. And I can see that the price went from 142 all the way down to under 10 cents. So that was over a 90% loss, almost a 95% loss. And that tells me that this is just a company to trade. We have seen nice recovery since then, and we now are only down 60%. Of course, only 60%. Certainly still extreme losses. But you take a company like Vape. Look at Vape. It was up at $40 and it dropped down to under a penny. And that tells me that this company is absolute garbage. You do not want to be anywhere near this company for a long-term investment. That's just a fact. I can, without looking at the financials, this chart tells me that there's dilution, convertible debt, reverse splits, and everything bad about penny stocks on this name. You don't want to be long. It's that plain and simple. There's great trading opportunity in seasonality and voting cycles, like we're seeing now, perfect example. But if you're going long in these names and thinking that the product is going to save this company and thinking that whatever, any reason that you come up with in your head, if you look at this chart, I just cannot, I'm trying to get this through as clearly as I can. You do not want to be anywhere near this company. They could be growing 10 million pounds of marijuana a month. Whatever they're saying, it doesn't matter. The share structure and debt structure are destroying this company from the inside out, and there is no shareholder value. And GRNH is the same thing. GRNH was up at 120. It's a little bit better, but it's just as bad. We dropped down to under 2 cents. So that's a 99% loss from the highs of 2014. That's dilution, convertible debt, and bad share structure. We have recovered up to 15 cents, but we're still down from those highs 90%. So again, you don't want to be long in these names. There are plenty of companies, there's Canadian tickers, and there's some US tickers where we are comparable to where we were in 2014, and that tells me that the share structure, the debt structure are all pretty good. And this is not the case. Anybody in this stock from 2014 or any time between 2014 and 2015 is still down money. So that's the point I want to get into. Now let's get into the specifics. So again, these names are fine to trade. In and out, have a game plan set. You know where your stop loss is going to be, and you lock in that profit. So here on TRTC, we're establishing higher lows and higher highs. There's been some high bear volume days, but the bulls have recovered. We have key support down here at 42 cents now. That's the low of the most recent consolidation. And now we have a lower high. So the high was at 56 cents, and now we have a lower high at 53.5. So that was a pretty high bear volume. Look at the bull volume compared to the bear volume. This is a red Marubozu candlestick where the bears controlled the entirety of the day, and we closed down near the low, which indicates we're going to see further downside tomorrow. And we can expect, I would expect a higher low to form compared to 42 cents, and that's what we call a tightening range. It's what I call reaching an equilibrium. We have our low set, lower high, higher low, tighter, tighter before a clear break, and that's what happened right here. There's our high. We came down, established a low, lower high, higher low, clear bull break. So we're looking for that pattern to set up again, but again, bear day, very likely to come tomorrow. I would say 70% sure of that based on the candlestick and the volume. Weekly time frame did get a nice higher high here. So here's our high on the move in April up to 74.6, pulled back, lower high, higher low, and there's your bull break by breaking the most recent high, and we now have a higher high. So as soon as we got over 51 cents, that was a bullish indication. You can see the nice solid bull volume compared to the last peak. So an increase in bull volume, a bull MACD cross, and we are above the upper Bollinger Band, or we're right at it, of 50 cents. And it looks like it's rounding here. I need to zoom in to see the exact number. Upper Bollinger Band is 496. So if we close above 496, we stay in breakout mode. If we don't, and if we fall back below the Upper Bollinger Band on the weekly time frame, we can expect further consolidation back down to the 40s. And there's all kinds of trend lines you can be drawing on these charts. I draw my trend lines hitting the real bodies of the candlesticks. And that's where I would put that trend line right there, hitting this low, and then that one, and no candlesticks on the weekly are closing below my uptrend support line, and that's where we'd be looking for the long-term trend to be maintained. So looking at Vape, we know it's a terrible long-term name, but look at this trading opportunity. If you're getting in September or October, you're making big-time money. So it's just everybody else, the thousands of people that got in 2014 and 2015 that had a complete write-off of their investment and lost everything. And I won't say everything, but anything over 90% might as well be everything. So Vape, again, higher lows and higher highs. Look at the 10-day moving average support holding this consolidation, holding the next consolidation, and now we're in breakout mode on increasing bull volume, but the RSI is really overbought on the daily time frame. So keep an eye out for a bearish reversal candlestick to form in the next day or two. We have 2 gap ups. If we gap up tomorrow, a 3 gap up pattern is a bearish reversal pattern. It shows that the bulls are getting exhausted to the upside. So resistance is 22 cents. As long as we close above the Upper Bollinger Band, we're in breakout mode, and the run will continue. In the weekly time frame, very key resistance was back here, and I need to zoom in again because we are rounding again. And we did break that level. That was a key resistance there. The high of the last bounce attempt up at 0.017. So breaking that, we now have a higher high. Although, well, the RSI still has room to the upside here on the weekly, and we're breaking out above the Upper Bollinger Band here on the weekly. So the next resistance level we're looking at, need to look back at previous resistance levels. Really, bulls really want to close above 2 cents. It acted as support back here in October 2015. And it will act as resistance unless we can close above that level by the end of the day Friday. If we can, the next resistance is up at 3.3, and then a big resistance up at 6.9. So there is nice upside potential if this volume keeps pouring in. But look at this volume, and this is an example where we zoom back. And look at the volume that it required to take the price to $41. And again, it was $41, I'm assuming, because of a reverse split. But less than 1 million shares traded. And now we have weeks with 200 million shares traded. That means that the share structure of this company has absolutely ballooned and magnified so that there are, I would assume, hundreds of percent more shares now than there were in 2014. And again, see the webinar, and that will explain why that occurs. It's so these companies that are not making profit can pay their executives and keep their business running. GRNH, another long-term bear, but another nice run on the monthly or on the daily 2-month time frame. Look at this big bullish reversal doji holding the middle Bollinger Band support. Big confirmation. So there was a big time gain there after the pullback where we consolidated, bounced from upper 8 cents, and then very quickly made it all the way back up to 13 cents. So here's that pattern where we have our high and our low. Then we're going to have a lower high today, looking like we're going to pull back and establish a higher low, perhaps off the middle Bollinger Band support, which will be just under 11 cents tomorrow. And we'll look for a clear break of that pattern. You watch it tighten up with the higher lows and lower highs, and then as soon as you get a higher high, it's a bull break, and if you get a lower low, it's a bear break. And this, you'll see this pattern on even the real stocks, Apple, Facebook, all kinds of time frames. This is the most common pattern, and I call it reaching an equilibrium, and it occurs after a breakout or a breakdown. So GRNH on the weekly, like I said, huge losses from 2014, but we are making some nice recoveries with this big time higher low and higher high. So again, anybody in 2016 is having a great time. They're partying. Anybody in 2014, 2015 is miserable. So long-term holders, not happy at all. Short-term holders, and this is why I'm making these webinars and putting all this free information out there, because I know there are just thousands and thousands of people that are about to get stuck again, just like what happened back here. And we do have a higher low and a higher high. The 200-week moving average support is 10.6. Resistance, we topped out with a double top at 15.9. So the upper Bollinger Band on the weekly to remain in breakout mode is a close above 11.7, which we are currently doing. And if we get a break of 15.9, that clear double top resistance, looking up There's your resistance right there, 16 and 15.9. That's why we're topping out. That was the high back at the end of 2014. And then after that, we're looking up at 21.7 as the next resistance point. So the move will keep up as long as the bulls keep it up. But we just need to be aware that these share structures are way different than they were back in 2014. And the same kind of volume is not making the same kind of impressions on the stock price. So some new names for me, SGBY. Look at the 50-day moving average support. Anytime I see the price action like that on a moving average, I know that's a must-hold level, and if we lose the 50-day, it's a huge red flag for the bulls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 holds in a row after 10 tests. So here's a perfect example of reaching an equilibrium. We had a breakout. We pulled all the way back, established support down at 0.0068. We bounced up. There's our lower high compared to the high of the move. Pulled back again. There's our higher low. So the range is tightening, tighter and tighter and tighter. And as soon as we broke this high of 2.5 cents, that's your bull signal. And we topped out 2.5 cents this week. Next week we broke it. And then here's 2 weeks following a breakout because we broke the lower high pattern. And now we have higher highs. So the high back here was 3 cents. We broke that level as well. Nice bull volume coming in the last month. Breakout above the upper Bollinger Band on the week or on the daily. And we look at the weekly, and we're very close to all-time highs. So we pulled back. There were some huge gains had down here. This was all the way down at 0.004, and now it's up at essentially almost 4 cents. So that is what, a 10,000% move to the upside? Huge gains from anybody down there. But we're closing in on a potential blue sky breakout. We would have to get up at this point. It is all the way up at 0.099. That is the level to get above for the bulls. But you can see this is a fairly new ticker. And now the volume's coming in, and most of it is favoring the bulls here. And we'll see how strong this movement is to the upside. And I'm hoping that's the right ticker, SGBY. Let's see here. Looks like it is, but I don't know if that's marijuana related. Either way, KSHB, also an extremely nice uptrend for the bulls, but we have a bit of a red flag. 10-day moving average support held the entire time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tests, 11, 12, 13 holding that support over the last 6 weeks, and then we lost it. So the strength of the uptrend is now in question. Here's where we're reaching an equilibrium. Our high, $5. Pullback low, $3.83. Lower high, $4.49. Higher low, $3.95. And we are so tight, we're going to see a clear break before the end of this week. A break of $4.49 is bullish, and a break of $3.95 is bearish. We have this middle Bollinger Band support catching up. That's going to help the bulls. But you can just see it getting tighter and tighter, and we know that clear break is coming very soon. A little bit fishy on yesterday, Monday. Big bull volume, very tight range. Looks like someone was selling shares there. Otherwise, you would expect, you can see the similar volume. Look at the range we had, 383 to 468. That's essentially an 81-cent range, and we had the same volume, and we only saw a 19-cent range. That tells me someone sold a lot of shares on Monday. So keep an eye out. Maybe a Form 4 filing will come out. Maybe some executive was selling. Who knows? But that's a red flag for me in the fact that the bull volume did not make much of a dent in the price to the upside. So looking at the weekly time frame, I consider this blue sky breakout. We had a recent IPO. Price did get all the way up to $10, but that looks like a fluke trade because there was only 15,000 shares traded that week. So I consider this a blue sky breakout, and this is normal healthy consolidation. Let's zoom in here. We've got a bull flag forming pattern on the weekly chart. Normal healthy consolidation, a little bit sketchy in terms of the amount of volume, but it is a bull flag pattern, and we'll look for the bulls to show back up after establishing support and head back to test the high up at $5. So this is a good chart in terms of its lack of price resistance, and the bulls clearly in full control on the daily time frame if we can get some continuation to the upside. And again, we should see a very clear break sometime in the next 3 days by the end of this week. So a lot of information there, I know, and I'm going to be doing some updating on the polls this weekend, and I'm going to be doing a couple more videos with some other tickers to be keeping an eye on. But I like KSHB because a clear break is coming, and who else do I like Vape is on in Blue Sky, or not Blue Sky, not even near it, but it's a very nice breakout. You don't want to be entering at this point. If you are not already in this name, you do not want to be chasing this stock. And GRNH looks like we're going to pull back. You can be looking for middle Bollinger Band support on GRNH as it held that last test. So we'll see what the next few days bring. I do expect some bullish action to continue at least towards the end of the week. And then I do expect a sell the news event initially in reaction to the vote, but we'll have to see what the polls give us this weekend as we do head into that vote. So I appreciate you watching. Again, check out that webinar, and I hope you have a great night.